Bismillah, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. Welcome to a new session of the Tuesday program, and with a new guest today, Mr. معاذ, اسماعيل, the science teacher in our school, and we are going to discuss a new important and a critical issue in our world, which is global warming. Global warming, as we see, everyone is taking this problem seriously, from the top levels in the country until the school students. Everyone is talking about it. And unfortunately, I met many students, they didn't have enough idea about what global warming is and the effects of global warming. All this we're going to discuss today with Mr. معاذ. So first, welcome Mr. معاذ.
Thank you.
To this program.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Every Tuesday we are happy to meet a new teacher from this school. So first, briefly, we want to know what is global warming.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Simply, when I say global, it's the whole globe, the planet Earth. And warming is like becoming warm, like Earth is getting hotter. Simply, Earth is getting hotter.
So in general, global warming is the globe, our Earth,
yes,
is getting hotter and hotter every year.
Yes, that's true.
So what causes this phenomenon to be hotter every year?
The reasons, mainly it's carbon dioxide. So people are using too many cars, factories, and like they're cutting so many trees, and that is causing carbon dioxide levels in the air to be like more and more every year. Like, just to let you know, the industry started in Europe in like 1800s, like 200 years ago, and in the last 50 years humans caused like the worst effect to the environment by letting carbon dioxide go in the air.
So carbon dioxide makes the Earth or the Earth's temperature to be higher.
Yes.
That's what we understand from you.
Yes, now, carbon dioxide is holding the temperature. Like sunlight is falling on Earth, and normally if there is no carbon dioxide, that light will go back to space. But with this carbon dioxide, it's making like a cover. We call it greenhouse effect. It's keeping the heat in the atmosphere, in the weather. So that makes the Earth hotter.
Is there any other effects of the global warming or increasing the levels of carbon dioxide? Are there any effects other than heat?
You know, increasing temperature is not a simple problem.
Okay.
It's very, very complicated. But let me tell you, how did we know first?
Yes.
How did we know that Earth is getting hotter? Like normally if we check the temperature of the air, it can be different from 1 minute to the other. Like in the morning it's 15, then at noon it's like 25. So it's changing during the day. How did we know that Earth is really getting hotter? People observed that the ice at the North Pole is melting. Like the thickness of the ice sheets is getting smaller or shorter.
So great.
That's how we knew it.
We know that the pure water is mostly freezing. So the students might say, okay, it's good, we will have more water.
Yeah.
So where's the problem?
So many kids say that. Just to let you know, the North Pole doesn't have a lot of ice. The most amount of ice is there in the South Pole. And they're not like small like sheets of ice, they are mountains of ice, huge ones. And scientists estimated that if all the ice on Earth melts, higher 70 meters. 70 meters, 70 meters. Like this means that most countries around the Earth would be covered in water. That is, if all the ice melts on Earth. That's the worst scenario. Okay. Like all the countries, most countries will be underwater. Like this city is lucky. Riyadh is 200 meters above the sea level. So we'll be surrounded with water also.
We're talking about some countries, that would be turned into seas.
Yes, most.
Okay, this is the problem.
Most countries.
Okay, now how can we stop or reduce the effects of global warming?
school level or country level.
Okay, good. So now we are talking about many levels,
Yes.
and we have heard that the presidents of the countries, okay, they made many conferences recently,
true.
okay, in order to cooperate together in order to stop the effects of global warming.
That's true.
So since we are in school, okay, let's start from the school level. Our students, we ourselves, okay,
Right,
how can we stop it?
Number one, increasing awareness. Like if you don't know there's a problem, you will never try to solve it. If you don't know there is a problem, like if someone goes to the doctor and he tells him, no, you're fine. And every time he goes to the doctor, he says, no, you're fine. And one day he just like maybe becomes unconscious, like he falls down. And then he goes to the doctor tells him, if you don't do this, you will die. Then he will start to act. We don't want to do this. We want to act earlier.
To understand that we are in a serious problem.
Yes,
we
true.
have a serious problem.
Yes, true.
Okay.
So students should know what is the problem, what are the causes, and what are the possible solutions. Possible solutions are solar energy and wind energy. In this area of the world, Saudi is very, like, mashallah, Saudi is one of the solar belt countries. Saudi receives very large amount of sunlight every year. Like, it would be a big waste if we don't use this energy to generate electricity.
Countries level now.
Yeah, but students, they should know, don't underestimate it. It will work, but over a long time. And we have to start acting. Some people say a simple act of care creates an endless ripple. Like if you start something good, you will see the effects later in the future. So we can start by switching off the lights if we don't use them. You know, stop using the water. Like if you are making wudu, don't leave that faucet open all time, because it will dispense a lot of water.
What we use in everything is not good. So this somehow at the end it is related to this phenomenon, right?
You know what? Many boys say, come on, how is water related to carbon dioxide? Someone will ask this question. So how is water, like spending more water, how is it related to having more carbon dioxide? Do you know that in Saudi we get fresh water that we use in for showering and for everything by desalination? We take sea water and ocean water, we evaporate this water, and then we collect it again and we use it.
This process needs fuel.
Electricity and fuel, yes, that's true.
At the end we are
so they're all related.
Carbon dioxide
of course,
to
yes.
To the atmosphere.
Yes, true.
So now, on the country level, okay, I see that you are referring to using the renewable resources of energy.
Yes,
okay,
true.
Can you give us some examples of renewable resources of energy that can be used?
Yeah. So it depends on the country. So in this country, as I told you, there is abundance of solar energy, but not wind energy. Wind energy is available only in some coastal areas to the west, near Medina and Hail and those places. So wind energy is not very useful in Saudi. To use wind energy, you need wind speed that is at least 6 meters per second. To make a wind turbine spin, you need a fast wind, some fast wind. But solar energy is the best solution in Saudi.
So as we heard from Mr. معاذ, it seems that everyone, okay, can have a role regarding this issue, global warming, okay, and everyone can do something to save our globe and to improve the quality of life that we have. So, my lovely students, anyone would like to add something or ask questions about what we have talked about? Please, Mr. Zaki, can you come, please?
Yes, what is the level of oasis in our country? Because we have a lot of heat in this country, and is the oasis, and is it affecting the country? Right.
The question, Mr. Ra'ad.
So can you say that again?
Can you repeat the question, please?
So there's a lot of heat in this country.
Yes.
So is the oasis, is it affecting the heat of the country? And also when we're talking about global warming now, so increasing, how come the global warming, how come the oasis is not helping to decrease the amount of heat in the environment? Yeah, in any country.
What oasis?
In general, we want to differentiate between the normal heat, okay, and between the heat that is caused by the global warming. So he's saying that this country has, okay, increasing temperature every year. So it's normally hot, but what about when it is joined with the global warming? I think.
Yeah. Okay. So good question, Zaki. Heat in this country doesn't reach the North Pole normally. If the whole atmosphere around the Earth is getting hotter, that heat will reach the North Pole and South Pole, and then will start to affect or cause that ice to melt. All right. So I just mentioned at the beginning, like temperature is different from one place to another, and during the day it's different. But overall, you can observe something that gives you an evidence that Earth is getting hotter, and that evidence is the ice melting. And let me add one very short point. Do you know how did scientists know that ice is really melting? So that is almost your point.
Do you know, Nawaf?
Anyone?
Do you know how?
Sea level.
By the sea levels.
No, we cannot judge that. Sea levels, by the way, rise in the morning, and
they found more fresh water.
No. Any idea? How can we tell that Earth is getting hotter? What evidence?
There's, like, for example, many different species of animals living in both the South and North Pole. If they decrease in the amount of species, that might be the evidence that
it's not easy to count animals.
Okay, so what's the reason? Or
how did we know? You know, in the in 2017, for the first time in history, a ship moved across. You know, in the past, if they want a ship to move through the North Pole, to break the ice and let the ship move, because it's not easy to move through the ice. For the first time in history, 2017, 2 years ago, a ship just moved across the ice without using icebreakers. Because that means the ice became very thinner and it became easier to break.
Okay, thank you.
That's one evidence. The ice is getting lower.
Okay, thank you. You have a question? Come, please.
How much countries will survive if the ice melts?
So it seems that Saleh is thinking about himself and the country.
Looking for options.
Countries, okay, will be safe in this case.
Okay,
so pass it down. Yes.
I don't have an exact number for that, but you can check your own country. Like if you check the elevation, like height of the land in your country, anything higher than 200 meters will not 200, anything higher than 70 or 80 meters will survive. But you did ask me a good question, but I didn't give an answer for that. Okay. Is there any other problem related to the global warming? Yes. Like, there is one problem: sea levels and ocean levels are rising. But you know, scientists recognized 20 problems, like 20 separate different problems that will happen all together if Earth gets hotter, if all the ice melts. One of them is sea levels and ocean levels are getting higher. One very important problem is we will have more rain. That's a problem, Saleh. We'll have more rain. Someone will say, okay, rain is good, but a lot of rain is not good. A rain to the level of flooding, yes. And the flood can erode, can make erosion to all the soil and the sand around your country. So even if you are on a high land, that a lot of rain will just move the ice, will move the sand and the soil around you, which makes the land weaker. So it's a big problem.
Let's listen to Muhammad.
Why does carbon dioxide act as a greenhouse? How does it trap the heat?
Yes.
I think he wants to say, how does it block Is it blocking the sunlight, right? Or the
Blocking
heat?
the heat,
Okay.
yes.
Why? Okay, how does it change the earth into a greenhouse?
Yeah. So, do you know what is a greenhouse? What's your name?
Yeah.
Muhammad, yes, what's it?
Muhammad? Do you know what's a greenhouse?
Yeah, it's made of glass and then...
Yes, it's a house made of glass, and people use it for
plants.
plants, for agriculture. That's correct. So you know that if you want to make plants grow better, you have to put them in a greenhouse, because hotter plants, they just grow faster. So people, they made greenhouses to block the gases inside, and to block the heat inside. Muhammad, different substances have different properties. Like carbon dioxide, if you heat it up, it will hold the heat and will not let it go. Like, I give you a short example about if you walk on a beach on a sunny day, the sand is so hot, and if you touch the water, it's still cold. Like different substances have different properties. One of them gets hot very quickly, the other gets hot slowly. And the water heats up slowly and cools down slowly. Same idea. Carbon dioxide absorbs the heat from the sun, and then it will re-emit it, it will lose it again, but very slowly. And we get carbon dioxide next day. So it's not stopping, it's increasing. That's why we have to stop making more carbon dioxide. Solutions, as we explained earlier, solar energy, wind energy, no smoke at all. That's it.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Yes, Zakia, any problem? Yes, please.
What are some of the levels of the sun rays that are effective to the environment, which are affecting the environment, but before they did used to, because the level of oasis is going low. So how is it? What are some of the rays of the sun that are affecting our environment because of this?
Can you tell me 3 of them, and I tell you which one is more effective?
Ultraviolet.
Yes, good. And?
Infrared.
Infrared. And?
And also that's all.
All right. Very good question. You know, the sun is sending so many kinds of light rays. Ultraviolet, infrared, there is X-ray and gamma ray, and there is visible light, the light that we can see. Red light and infrared light are known as thermal radiation. They contain a lot of heat, red and infrared. So other lights are not that hot. So infrared is the most.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question.
Wants to tell us about his role as you understood from this session. Anyone can tell us what is your role from now on to decrease this the effects of global warming? What is your role as a student? You are not a resident, you are not a prime minister, you are a student, okay? You live in your house with your family. So what can you tell us something they can do? Yes, Muhammad, please.
Raise awareness.
Raise awareness. So you want to tell the others about what's going on?
Yeah, in posters or social medias.
Social medias and posters.
That's very good.
Muhammad, come please. No, come please.
Everyone has his role in saving the environment, and they should be able to do their role. Even the smallest changes could affect the biggest things.
Okay. So anything you can do, you can do something.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the ozone layer, it protects us from the sun's rays along with clouds and other different types of things. The ozone layer, I think it's related to recycling. If you don't recycle, there might be, I think there's already a part of the ozone layer that's faded away or melted away, and that area of land has been affected greatly, in a bad way, from the sun's rays. How does carbon dioxide and greenhouses affect the ozone layer?
Ozone layer is, we didn't talk about this, okay, but how this phenomenon affect the ozone layer?
Yeah.
So before anyone has an idea what is ozone layer? What is it? Would you like to tell us what is ozone layer? Yes, please, Nawaf.
It's an invisible layer in the atmosphere that protects us from the rays from the sun.
Which kind of rays? An idea?
Which kind of rays?
Gamma rays
And
X-rays,
and
ultraviolet.
yeah, that's the most important one, by the way. Ultraviolet is the most important.
Thank you. Yes.
Right.
So he answered the question already.
Right.
It protects us from the ultraviolet rays.
Yes, true.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So ultraviolet, is very dangerous kind of radiation. If it falls on your skin, it can cause skin cancer over a long time. And so many people got skin cancer because of this of ultraviolet rays.
Any other
Ozone. He was asking a question.
Yes.
Carbon dioxide is not that bad to ozone layer. There are some other gases that we emit, like in our daily life, like CFC, chlorofluorocarbons, and some other gases. They are very they eat the ozone layer.
There are some other gases that are more dangerous even than carbon dioxide.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Can you tell us some sources of these kinds of gases? Like what? Where they come from? I mean, how do we increase them?
Yeah, factories that when they use substances to make their goods, they emit so many gases like sulfur dioxide and so many gases, methane gas, and
very poisonous
yes,
gases. Okay,
and they eat the ozone layer.
Any other, Rashid, please?
How is the carbon dioxide is dangerous? And then how do scientists know that sea level is rising?
So I think we answered the question how they know, how they knew that ice is melting.
Yes.
But how they knew as well that sea levels are going higher, they are increasing. I think it's easy to be measured. Okay, can you answer the question?
So it's related, it's very logic. If I have a big piece of ice and I notice it's melting slowly, so one day if all the ice melts, the water level will rise. So that's very simple logic.
This ice
ice melts, water goes up. Yes.
Surely it will go to the oceans and seas. Okay,
yes.
Thank you very much.
And about carbon dioxide, they tried. Science people, they do experiments. They want to see which gas is holding the heat. So they put some carbon dioxide with heat, and they measure the temperature. It's still high. They put oxygen with heat. It doesn't hold the heat. So they knew that carbon dioxide is one gas that can hold the heat inside. That's why they said so.
Thank you. Maybe the last question from Noor. Yes, Noor.
As we all know, trees take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen. And since humans break down lots of forests, deforestation.
Yes.
How can we change carbon dioxide other than the plant way into something good?
MashaAllah, that's a very good question. Very good.
Question.
Yes.
Very good question. Thank you very much. Yes.
Normally trees, they take carbon dioxide to do photosynthesis and they give oxygen, and that process is every day. Mm-hmm. During the day they take carbon dioxide, at night they give oxygen. But people, they started cutting trees to make business, to cut wood and make tables and desks and everything. So the number of trees is decreasing, which is making the problem worse. It's making the problem worse. So he was asking how can we use carbon dioxide to change it into something useful. Yes. It's not that easy. Carbon dioxide is all around the atmosphere. Step number one, how can I collect it? Separation, if you want to separate gases, it's a mix of gases, carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, and so many things. Separation of gases is not easy.
So,
right?
Planting,
a good question.
Growing new trees, planting new trees, I think this helps a lot.
it helps a lot, but it doesn't. It's not able to take all the carbon dioxide that we produce every day. Just imagine the carbon dioxide that you give while breathing. A small factory like gives 1 million times the amount of carbon dioxide that you give. So it's giving a lot of carbon dioxide.
The amount is very great. We can control it.
Yes, no way to control this.
Okay, yes.
We have to start using less fossil fuels and carbon dioxide things.
Yes.
If the magnetic field suddenly disappears and then solar winds start reaching Earth, can that affect the ozone?
Sorry, say again?
If there was no magnetic field, can solar winds affect the ozone layer?
Okay,
so
the relation between the magnetic field and the solar energy or the sunlight?
There are some weaknesses in the magnetic field, but it will never disappear. It will never vanish. No, why do you consider if this happens like?
So I think this
like the whole.
Is the nature of the science, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't
Mars
have.
does not have. Mars does not have a magnetic field. It's clear.
It depends on the structure of the planet. Well,
yeah, but if it disappears, can that affect ozone layer?
It will affect everything, of course. It will affect the rotation of Earth, and it will affect like.
This is
it's
impossible.
Yeah, impossible. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's getting weaker sometimes, but it's impossible to disappear.
To Zaki, please, Zaki.
The ozone layer is getting affected by is the ozone layer getting less powerful day by day since we're polluting and stuff like that. We're keeping our houses messy, the streets are messy, and all of that. If we extract some atoms from the carbon dioxide, can we, like Nirgin said, can we make the carbon dioxide into oxygen, like by taking off some atoms and some particles, extracting?
It's very hard.
Yeah, it's a chemical process. Changing carbon dioxide into oxygen is a chemical process. It's done in plants during photosynthesis. So to make this, by the way, do you know that Mars is full of carbon dioxide? The atmosphere of Mars is like 90 something % carbon dioxide. And scientists were thinking if we can put a small plant on Mars, it will take the carbon dioxide and start giving oxygen. And then it will make it like a habitable planet.
So finally,
people can live on Mars.
The process of changing carbon dioxide to oxygen, this is
a chemical process, yes.
Chemical process, but it's not easy.
It's not easy. It needs chemicals, or it needs something natural like trees.
Okay, I think.
So the smart solution is to. We have so many kinds of renewable energy. Like we can use any of them. Some people think of RRR, reduce, reuse, recycle. If I use,
reuse,
yes,
recycle.
but that is like very simple solution. This solution can never like treat or manage the amount of carbon dioxide, the amount of carbon dioxide that we have around us. We have to to think of smart solutions like solar energy, wind energy, and there are so many kinds of energy. Say again? Yes.
Exactly. Okay, thank you very much. At the end of this session, I would like to thank all our students today. Saleh Ategi, Nawaf, Kinan Al-Jasir, Muhammad, Abdullah Dail, Rashid, Zaki, Muhammad Yunus, and Noor, and finally Muhammad Izzat, and Nawaf as well. Welcome, and we were happy to hear your questions and suggestions. Thank you very much, and at the end of this session, we would like to thank Mr. معاذ اسماعيل, the science teacher for grade 4 level. Thank you very much, and at the end of the session also we would like to present this piece of symbolic, actually, crystal, okay, for Mr. Muaad.